Hello and welcome to Aerodynamix Racing F1 2020 Esports League. We're here in round 8 of the French Grand Prix. We're just starting the short qualifying of 18 minutes. And then it's going to be a 50% race. So already Sklad, F1 Immortal and Chappie and Josh already went out on their fast lap. So here Josh. So the French Grand Prix, well, not the most interesting of tracks, but in terms of driving, in terms of my experiences at least, it's quite flowing and not quite nice to drive. As Josh said, 1 minute 29.8, which a really decent lap indeed. So yeah, this track really good track. I mean, really good track for driving. In terms of my preferences, it's quite flowing, but in terms of racing, it's not that interesting. And yep, I don't really, well, we started to race on the track from 2018 onwards, apart from 2020 obviously with the COVID stuff. But Sklad says 1 minute 30.0, with F1 Immortal says 1 minute 31.6, a second 6 tenths behind Sklad. So right now we only have 14 drivers as of yet, because of, well, some drivers will be late and yep. So let's talk about the last Grand Prix. Well, remember Obliviate. Well, it was really, let's start off with really interesting race, as was the case for any other track races. As was the case for any other races, but the Canadian Grand Prix, well, it was such fine margins between the race wins. You really did not know who was going to be the race winner till the end of the race. I mean, you had as sorry for the delay, for the pause from my side. Okay, yeah, come back. Well, it was really interesting. We had, well, it was really fine margins because of the penalties. We had, it was Obliviate, Perg, and Perg, Josh, and wait. Yeah, it was Obliviate, and right behind him it was no. It was Andy, yep. Sorry, I had to remember, but yeah, it was Andy, Perg, and Obliviate O for the chance of winning the race. See, Josh sets provisional pole lap time of 1 minute 29.8 with 2/10 down Perg, and 400s down is Claude, and a further 400s down is Andy. So Andy was in a Racing Point / Aston Martin, but now he's in a Williams. So that's a quite interesting driver transfer for you here. But yeah, it was Andy, Josh, Perg, and Obliviate. I mean, Perg, Obliviate, Andy, all for the chance of winning the race. But it was really fine margin because of the penalties. Well, if I remember correctly, Andy had the most penalties, but then Obliviate had a second less of a penalty. If I remember correctly, it was like 8, and Andy had 9. And it was at the end of the race, it was 8/10, and it was just going from 1.1 second to 8/10, and it was changing the whole every single time. It was just really interesting to see who's going to win. But then Perk, who had only one, who was going easy to get the race victory. He had no penalties, and he was in prime position to capitalize on the Obliviate and Andy having the penalties. But then he had made a mistake on the exit, lost a lot of time, and then made another mistake and grabbing a penalty, which denied him a win. But it was still getting close. He had the pace to definitely get back to win the race, but it was really fine indeed, and just I was really at the edge of my seat the whole race. But already 9 people said the lap times, and only 8 minutes, so not everyone, well, it's going quite slowly, but so it's Josh from provisional pole with Perg in second. The podium sitter last race, and Sklad in third. Andy, the last race is pole sitter also. Then Alexander Albon P5, Ice 1 P6, just 8 thousandths of a second below Alex Albon. I believe Alex Albon is Obliviate. Yeah, and Alex Albon, he's making his track debut right here in a Red Bull, taking Obliviate seat for now. Yeah, but only 15 drivers here, but despite this being a boring track, we'll definitely be here to see as he destroys the bollard and, well, makes confetti out of that bollard. But yeah, looking at the past Grand Prix, this will definitely be a banger no matter what. As Perg beats Josh for provisional pole and takes 4/10 out of Josh. But Chappie and Chris Hammond and Josh Wentz were the 3 championship contenders, and definitely Chappie, it still barely hangs on. Not having the greatest of pace these past races, but he's not having the greatest pace out of the last Grand Prix in Chappie, but best races these past few races. But Josh Wentz, well, he's the furthest of those 3, but he definitely has the pace, and he's definitely a really good driver. He just needs to capitalize on them making the mistakes, and he really needs to minimize the mistakes. We really had a really difficult campaign these past 2 races, and hopefully it gets better for him. He has the speed, but things didn't work out for him. But now we just ride on board with him as he hard braking into turn 1, a chicane into turn 2. Goes for here, another swooping left corner into the last hairpin, and easy on the power once again, and hopefully great reaction time from Joshua Wentz. And what does Joshua Wentz do? He takes provisional pole and beats Perk by 0.3 of a second. And then what I said, he really does have the pace. Well, as we see, Joshua Wentz is really taking interesting lines. Obviously, he needs to make the in-lap and out-lap as fast as he can to make that last lap. So Chris Hammond and Kieran still have to set their lap times. They really need to get a move on, because, well, Chris Hammond, well, he's really close to take Chappie's lead from the championship. Chris Hammond, well, he's definitely Chappie's the more consistent out of them 3, but Chris Hammond, we saw on this day and the last few races, he was the greatest. Oops, I apologize. The greatest out of them all. He has really great pace on this day, and he's definitely a really good threat for Chappie. But last corner goes Chappie as he goes, oh, and he makes a mistake, and did that cost him pole, and that cost him. And he will definitely not have time for in-lap and out-lap. And Chris Hammond stays 11 after that mistake. And that is definitely good for him. But as we saw, Chris Hammond is more of a Sunday boy. He doesn't have the best qualifying pace. Starts usually. Yeah, Chris Hammond doesn't usually have the greatest pace on qualifying, but on Sunday on this race, he's definitely has extraordinary pace. We saw him start outside of the top 10 and then fight and contend for the race victory. But really going for him, he made a mistake on the last corner. But right on board with Kieran. But still someone need to set their lap time. So Angel still need to set their lap time. It's Joshua Wentz on provisional pole right now. And as Angel doesn't improve, and he stays P3, and he goes, no, he does improve, and he goes P3, and it's a second row for Angel, but it's pole position for Joshua Wentz, 1 minute 29.1. Joshua Wentz on pole after two difficult races. He's back in game, and he's ready to capitalize on bad qualifying from Chappie and from Chris Hammond. Joshua Wentz definitely needed this, and hopefully he can pull out a gap in a race and take the race victory. and hopefully no more bad luck hits him. But it's second in place for Perg, and Perg is really getting back. And as we see the good order right now, but Perg really getting up to speed and really fighting for contention of the front runners past few races. Perg, and you don't even know, maybe Perg will win the championship against Chappie, Chris Hammond and Joshua Enns. Dark horse in the championship fight. So now we're just loading into the race. So, who are your bets on winning this race? My bets, well, it's really difficult to say, but I'm gonna say the pole sitter of Joshua Enns. Well, Joshua Enns, I don't know, it's a medium difficulty for overtaking on the track. Obviously, you can do it on the back straight, after the back straight into the chicane or into turn 1. But maybe we're going to see some round the outside, really amazing overtakes like we saw in the past Grand Prix. We'll definitely have to tune in and see, as we are just about to start the formation lap, and I'll run you through the grid order for today's race. Well, Joshua Enns on pole position for the third time. It's Perg in P2 on the front row after a pole sitter in Canada. Angel in Andre in P3. Scalad in P4 in a McLaren. Andy, our podium sitter last race, in P5. Josh in P6. Our podium sitter in Bahrain in Baku. Ice One in 7th. Chappie, the championship leader, in 8th. Well, Alex Albon, disqualified from the formation lap, is 9th. Making a decent debut for himself. Gretzko in P10. F1 Immortal in P11. Chris Hammond, well, after quite some mistakes in qualifying, goes P12, but really close to Chappie in the championship fight. Scooby STU, well, just behind his teammate of Chris Hammond. Scooby had 2 podiums before, had a couple of podiums before, one in China and and Kieran in P14 and Shade in P15. Only 15 runners today, but that will definitely not make it less interesting. So I'll just set the telemetry rail quickly. So the strategy would be, well, it's either a 2-stop or a 1-stop. 1-stop would be soft, medium, mediums, or 1-stop could be soft, hards, or medium hards. So as they just form up on the grid, we see stranded Alex Albon on there. As you see the predicted strategy, as I just said, soft mediums for 2 stops on soft medium mediums, or 1 stop would be soft hards and medium hards. So as they just line up. As we go to 5 red lights. it's go here in France, and Josh gets a decent start against Perg, but Perg is getting really pressurized by the Mercedes, and they go 4 abreast into first corner, but Josh Wentz loses out and he has contact with Andy, and it's Perg in the lead with Angie really pressurizing him, but Josh Wentz looks to have damage, and Sklad in P3. And once again, Josh Wentz is not having the greatest of luck. But Perg, who leads the French Grand Prix, Angie just 6 tenths behind, and Josh just behind, and 2 tenths down is Andy. But will Josh try to make a move on Angie on the back straight? No, he's not too close. But what happened there? Well, it looks like Josh really had great start first, but then made a mistake in the first corner. And Perg really got pressurized by Mercedes, but managed to hang on and capitalize on Josh Wentz making a mistake. And then Josh Wentz really had contact with his own teammate, broken the first rule. Broken the first rule of F1. Don't have contact with your own teammate. Well, Perg already a 1 second gap to AJ. AJ really pressurized by Josh, and Josh really pressurized by Andy, and Andy pressurized by Ice One. Perg sets the fastest lap of the race. As we see AJ really locking up and really starting to feel the pressure. So Josh Wentz, once again, not having the greatest of luck. As Chappie really had a great start. He started in P13 and managed to overtake 4 cars. Chappie is stayed where he is. But Josh is about to get overtaken by his championship contender, Josh. Well, Josh is really having. It looks like he's living under a ladder. That's how unlucky he is. But coming back to the leaders. But is it? But Andy is about to make a move on Josh. No, it's Ice One make a move on Andy. Has the inside line. And it's a textbook move, but it goes wide indeed. And Andy, as there's some contact. And oh my goodness me. And Sklad is out. And that was a horrendous crash. As we see Chappie spun it his own. And there's a... Undoubtedly, that is a safety car, and oh my goodness, Chappie, the championship leader, and what happened there? That was a massive crash. That was just horrendous. Well, it looks like Andy and Ice One had contact. Ice One was trying to overtake Andy. It looks like Ice One had went really wide into the corner after overtaking him. Andy tried to possibly switch back him, but couldn't do it in time. And Ice One got spun out by Andy. And Andy, when he spun out, hit Sklad, and Sklad is out of the race, and quite so possibly Chappie got involved in it too, because well, he was facing the opposite way of the track when I went on board with him. So, but already chaos here in France. So you see already hard some people for mediums. but Chris Amond, who leads the French Grand Prix. But remember, he still has to pit. But some people went on mediums and some people went on hards. And Perg went on hards, who's the net race leader. So, memorizing to the real life, there's no big highlights in real life from this track. The 2018, I can't remember anything. On 2019, well, the only thing I remember was like that four-way fight with Kimi, Sainz, Ricciardo, and possibly Norris. I can't remember, but I think there was a four-way fight with them. And it was quite nice, and that was the only nice highlight from this track. But there's no, but obviously there's enough action here in this Aerodynamix Racing League. Already a crash on a safety car, and the championship wide open once again with Chappie spun, and Josh Wens in contact with his own teammate. So the safety car should be in this lap, I would think. Yeah, so the safety car is in this lap, and Chris Hammond is, or is it? Yeah, it is. So Chris Hammond is becoming the safety car. So let's see where he bolts. He bolts, and he gets a decent restart. But Kieran does not get a decent restart, as F1 Immortal gets past Kieran, and he's getting pressurized by Shade. But up in front, it's, well, Chris Hammond spun! Oh my goodness! And, well, that definitely. Well, now he's getting overtaken by his own teammate who also got spun. What is happening for the championship leaders today, this race? But Scooby, who leads the French Grand Prix with a 1.5 second lead, and he might be in a really good position for winning this race. For his first ever race win. But F1 Immortal just right behind him, and Kieran just 7 times behind F1 Immortal. But what happened to Chris Hammond? It looks like he spun out the exit of turn 2. But that is really gutting for him, and you have to feel for him. And in a race where it looks like he could once again get a lot of points on Chappie, well, it just went away on a matter of a safety car restart. But Joshua Wens gets a 3-second time penalty, and that really does not help his cause. But Scooby also has a penalty. As there's more contact, and it's what happened. That's Angel who spun at the exit of the last corner, and Angel, who was in prime position for a second place finish, now spun. And what is happening for the drivers today? A lot of people really struggling on this track, and maybe the tires are not feeling too good this race, but There's just action left, right, center where you look. But Scooby with a comfortable lead of 2.3 seconds. But look what kind of train is forming up behind. It's a massive train. There's almost one. Look how much people are in one train. But Perg will try to move in a fast corner, and he does get past Shade in a fast corner, but he go wheel to wheel into the swooping life. They're still going at it. And Perg on the hard tires to go wheel to wheel, and Perg just manages to hold on. But still, Shade still fights on, but Perg gets past. But that was a great fight. But now Shade is getting pressurized by Josh. But look how close the field is. My goodness, that's... Well, it's... As Andy's right up Josh's chuff. Josh, Andy will have on a DRS on Josh, and Josh might get him. Well, he will try to go around the outside, but it's not hard. But he switches to the inside, but Josh manages to hold on. But what happened once again is Iceform loses a couple of positions. So does well, there's fights. Look at the field. It's absolutely amazing scenes here, right here, as we see Josh is getting past the Red Bull into the fast corner. As Shade also gets past. I think he's got contact because he's really slow, as he gets passed by well, he's getting passed by, oh my goodness, he's getting passed by every single driver right here. Shade might maybe got some contact. But now Andy will try a move on F1 Immortal. Will he try round the outside on the chicane? No, he doesn't. F1 Immortal defends with the inside line. But Andy will now try a move onto the turn 3. He gets the inside line, and they're going wheel to wheel. I think he goes round the outside and he gets past. But Josh gets past, but he has got damage. The end plate is broken, and he's got really a lot of damage, and he loses positions. But Andy gets past F1 Immortal, and F1 Immortal is now pressurized by Alexander Albon. Alexander Albon with DRS wide open, and there's contact. Oh my goodness me! And that is that unsurprisingly, that's a safety car. My goodness, that was a massive crash. Oh my goodness, and hopefully the drivers are okay, because that crash, that was like a 200-kilometer crash. And just, that was horrendous to watch. And hopefully the drivers are okay, because that crash, whoa, that was one of the biggest crashes I've ever seen. But it looked like F1 Immortal, well, he done it on purpose, quite possibly. And there will definitely be some big debrief going on behind the scenes. The stewards will definitely be looking at this with a strict eye, because that was horrendous. That was just, I have no words. But it looks like F1 Immortal done it on purpose. Maybe he was fed up losing that many positions, and well, he just took out his own teammate into the wall 200 kilometers. Yeah, and I'm hearing that the drivers are okay. That they just managed to get out of the car safely. But I had just had encroaching flashbacks from 2020 rain. My goodness. That was a life-threatening crash right there. And sadly we don't have any replays. But looks like F1 Immortal just completely took out his teammate. Just raged and swerved him into the right, into the wall at 200 kilometers, and well, you might see, boy, there'll probably gonna be a race ban at least for the next race, because that is just unacceptable. But maybe that wasn't his fault. Maybe he had some problems out of his controls. We'll have to just see in the steward debrief after the race. But right now Perg leads the race with Chappie just behind. But Chappie, who was just in P10 the whole race and spun at the end of lap 1. At lap 1. No, it wasn't lap 1, sorry. Well, he just spun. And now he's finding himself P2, but he still has to pay. He's on a 2-stop. But Perg will go to the end of the race with the hard tires, and Perg in the prime position to win the race. And after barely missing it out in Canada, he's here for redemption in France. So Gresco, MP3, who also will have to box. Ice One, MP4, he will not have to box, so he might get P2. Angel, who also spun, is in P5 now, and will also go to the end. Scooby will, on a much fresher hard tire, will also go to the end. Medium tires for Kieran. He'll still most probably will have to box, unless he can make a mammoth of a stint on the medium tires. Andy, on P8, he'll go to the end. On the fresh hard tires, Josh on the fresh hard tires will go to the end. And P9, Josh Owens, P10, looks like he'll go to the end. Shade, Josh, well, he was a pole sitter and definitely not showing the same pace and not having the luck he has. But Shade in P11 and Chris Hammond in P12. Safety car is in this lap. Well, still shocked on seeing that crash. You really do not like to see this kind of crash. That's a life-threatening crash, and you can just see the amount of safety that is implemented into F1, as Josh Owens gets a 5-second time penalty because he's got a collision with Josh. The other Josh in McLaren. Josh Owens, McLaren, and Josh in McLaren. And Josh Owens is in Williams. So Perg is becoming a safety car, and let's see what kind of restart he will get. He's going through the last corner. Will he bolt? No, he's still holding on, but he bolted. And well, Chappie really managed to hold on to Perg, and Chappie just 4 tenths behind Perg. As Perg really just made a mistake, it really went wide indeed. The exit of this corner really matters. And will Chappie go for the move, slipstream down to turn 1, no DRS after 3 laps of the safety car. It's just a slipstream to turn 8, and will he dive down the inside? Yes, he does, and he gets past Berg and Choppy, the championship leader, back into contention. But let's not forget, maybe he will not have to box. Let's not forget Bahrain. He likes to go long on tires, Choppy does. He really is a king of as Ice One also spun into the wall, and another spinner just adds to the list of spinners we had this race. Yeah, but what I said, Choppy, he likes going long. He really the king of saving the tires with and the king of long stints. Medium tires, more than half distance in Bahrain. One stuff from soft to mediums in Bahrain was just incredible and just really showed the amount of pace he has. But already a 1.4 second gap from Choppy, who's spawning at lap 3 or something, now back into contention as Andy gets a 3-second time penalty. As Angel is pressurizing Gresko is really full of his own teammate, 2 seconds back from his teammate, and Andy's really starting to pressurize Gresko on the medium tires, so should have more good on. Oh my goodness, he just swerves and almost loses the rear end and almost does what the Red Bull did, and that also could have been a massive crash, but thankfully he managed to hold it. As Andy gets past into McLaren of Josh. That's Angel also missed it, but Angel gets past Gresko. I know Scooby will try to attack Gresko. But look, the train that we had in before the safety car is forming up once again. As Andy is pressurizing Kieran. DRS is on the slot, but Kieran went wide, and Andy will try to get past before the DRS zone. He doesn't need a DRS zone, he gets past into turn 3, and now Andy is looking at the rear wing of Jacka Jones of Haas. But Josh looks like he's really struggling indeed, as Josh Wentz gets past Josh, but it's not enough. Will Josh Wentz try to dive down the inside? No, he doesn't. Barely doesn't have enough speed. But now Josh is pressurizing Kieran. And Scooby, as he goes through this as he opened DRS on Gresko. Gresko outside of DRS managed to get out of DRS from Gresko, but Scooby is now pressurizing Gresko, and Gresko really needs to get into DRS range of Angel because he'll not manage to defend from Scooby. As Ice One gets a 3-second time penalty as he goes through the X, and Gresko does not get DRS, but it's possibly too far back, and Gresko will just hang on into turn 8. As Gresco really goes wide indeed. And will Scooby try a move into the fast corner? He goes slipstream, pulls to the right. And will he go into the fast corner? MP4, yes he does. Scooby gets past Gresco. And now Andy will look at the rear wing of Gresco. But Chappie already a gap of 2.8 seconds. As my goodness, what happened there? As Gresco goes into the pits for a second stop. So it's Perg in P2 with Andre just behind. But Chappie on the medium tires. We don't know if you try and make what he did in Bahrain and try to survive the medium tires to the end. As Scooby STU gets a 3-second time penalty. As so does Kieran. As Shade quite possibly just spun. And well, Kieran really also has... As there's some yellow flags in sector 2 and there's a Haas. What happened there is Chris Hammond spawned once again. And Chris Hammond, after a few amazing races, having a difficult campaign in this one. But he will not be delighted to hear that Chappie in the lead of the race with 2.8 seconds of a gap. Perk will just pray to the gods that either Chappie will have to pit or his tires will just fall off. And Andre will really have to pull out a gap. Well, the gap was 2 seconds, so he managed to close up a little bit. But Andy, well, he's now pressurizing Scooby. Scooby with that DRS as Andy pulls out to the right, and it's a textbook move into the chicane, and Andy gets into. And now he'll have to pull, with the much fresher hard tires, pull out a gap of 2.5. We'll have to close up a gap of 2.5 seconds to Andre. So lap 17 out of 27. 10 laps to go. Chappie right now in lead of the race. But Perg, Andre and Andy just behind. Well, it looks like Josh Wentz is really struggling as he goes completely off track. Well, Josh Wentz and just boxed. And Shade looking at the rear wing of that Mercedes. Shade, who spun and was in contention for at least a podium after a spin, now fighting for P7. But the dirty air of Kieran really is not helping Shade get past. But he'll definitely have an occasion on this corner as they open DRS. But will the closing speed be enough? No, it won't. Or will he dive down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. was, oh my goodness, as Kieran brake checks Shade, and Shade's got damage, and well, that was really cheeky from Kieran. And well, Shade just completely broken from wing, and you get a feeling that there'll be some stewards debrief after the race. So the field closed up a bit after, well, what we saw after the first safety car. The cars were absolutely everywhere. It was amazing scenes, and I'll definitely screenshot the scene we had going into the fast corner. Whoa, my goodness, what the hell? Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry if you have epilepsy or something. What the hell is going on with Chappie? Chappie is really having a seizure, and I'll not swap into Chappie as well, if someone has some epilepsy, I don't want them. But what the hell? He doesn't even have tires. Look at that. Oh my goodness, he doesn't have tires. What is going on with Perg also? Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks, well, this just shows the absolute great. Okay, no, I'm sorry for everyone who has epilepsy or something. My eyes just hurt from that. But what the hell is wrong with this game? But Chappie does box. But Perg now leads the French Grand Prix once again, and now, but Andre really closed up. It's only a gap of 1.1 seconds, and it's between Andre and Perg for their first ever race win. Perg for redemption after in Canada. Let's see if the Chappie fixed problems. Oh no, it didn't. Oh god. But the gap is now 8 tenths. Andre is now in DRS range of Perg. Perg will have to make the widest Ferrari Andre ever seen to for at least 7 laps. This is going to be definitely a really interesting race between them two. So stay tuned for this. As AJ locks up into the sweeping left corner. As AJ gets DRS, but it's quite a late reaction time. But there's not enough. As he locks up once again, and Andy really struggling. I I apologize, sorry. Andre is now 7 tenths the gap. Andre really closing up, and DRS will close up even more. Perg will really have to defend for his life for this at least 6 laps now. Perg will really be starting to count down the laps. But Chappie on the new, fresh, soft compound tires. 5 tenths the gap. Well, probably for the brake streak you will need at least a 5 tenths gap to get at least close or into contention for overtaking. But Andrew really closed up. and Perg is really going quite wide and quite struggling now as 4/10 the gap. And Perg, oh, there's a massive lockup for Andre, and this will definitely not help his tires. And another lockup for Andre, and this will definitely not help his tires. As he gets gaining, but it's not enough. A 1/10 is the gap as they go through the chicane. But Andre has the penalties, Perg doesn't, so he really has to overtake him and pull out the gap. Chappie with the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 32.5 as another lockup for Andre, but it's really close, right up Perg's chuff. And Perg, well, you rather get a feeling that Perg is a sitting duck in this situation, and DRS wide open, slipstream into turn 8, and Andre doesn't even need the braking zone into turn 8. He gets past Perg, and Andre will now have to pull out a gap of 5 seconds in 5 laps. So don't leave us right now, because this is bound to get really close. So Andre really will be hoping for a mistake from Perg's side, or at least a penalty from his side. And Perg will be hoping, oh, another massive lockup from Andre, and Perg will have to hope that Andre does not have enough pace for that 5 seconds, and Perg will have to try and so Andre leads the French Grand Prix with 4 laps to go and the gap of 1.2 seconds. Andre with a 5-second time penalty, but he needs a 3.5 second gap. This will definitely be really close. It's DRS for Pag. So with 4 laps to go in this really chaotic French Grand Prix, so let's recap what happened. Well, around lap 3 we had that massive crash where Shade was trying to overtake Andy, and Andy defended sorry, yeah, and Andy and Shade got past Andy, and then Shade went wide into turn 1, and then Andy was trying to, probably it looked like he was trying to switch back him or something, but he re-rendered Shade, and Shade spun and then hit Sklad, who DNF'd. And it was really a blessing for Shade that he didn't get DNF'd. And it was really unlucky for Sklad, because that was just really out of his control. And it was like a T-bone crash. And we hear that Sklad was out okay after the race. But then we had the first safety car. After a first safety car, we had a multiple car battle. It was like the whole top 10 was within 1 second of the car in front, and it looked like the whole track was, everyone was trying to make a move on each other. It was just absolute amazing scenes, and one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a game. Just beautiful. But then we saw F1 Alexander Albon was trying to get past F1 Immortal, but then F1 Immortal really looked like he was, well, I think he raged, and he took out Alexander on 200-kilometer crash, put him into the wall, both of them out, and that was a mass crash. And we hear that both of the drivers are okay, but there's definitely going to be some massive sure debrief with F1 Immortal's behavior. That was unacceptable behavior from F1's Immortal sorry, but oh yeah, and let's not forget after that Sclad crash, Chappie spun, but now he's in P6. But and yeah, also in the restart of the first safety car, Chris Hammond spun, which denied him a potential win for the race. So 2 seconds a gap, 2 laps to go, 3 laps, 3 seconds, and it's, well, looks like it's going to be in Perg's hands to win this race, but maybe Perg will make a mistake and get penalty. It'll be definitely be really close. But we had a second safety car, and after the second safety car, oh yeah, and after, between the safety cars, we also Shade also spawned. Andre, I believe Andre or Kieran it was who spun, and then second safety car, Chappie boxed with its. Let's see if the seizure is still there. Yeah. Oh my. Hello. I don't say my game crashed. Oh my goodness, what? Oh my god. No, why did I change over? No. Okay. I really apologize for changing over, but yep. Oh my.